Hi guys, welcome back to Fusion Fat Loss and Nutrition Transform You Online. And here we go with what many of you have been waiting for. We start with the exercise component of the transformation program, and in many ways, almost like the nucleus of the entire program. Today we discuss weight training, the panel beater, the real body shape changer, and it is something truly that no matter how old, what gender, what your goal is, this really should be the cornerstone of all of your exercise regime for many reasons, as we'll discuss today. You'll see how this truly can elicit an unbelievable response in regards to the way you look, feel, and perform. So let's move on and continue with some of the fascinating information that we'll discover today. The real art and science of body shape change. We'll look at some of the benefits that can be achieved with weight training. Leaner, absolutely. Because you increase your lean muscle mass, your fat loss percentage decreases. So there's no skinny fat, so you're not becoming a lighter, fatter version of yourself. You're actually increasing a lean muscle mass, which enables your body fat percentage to decrease, in many cases, dramatically. Healthier, once again, immunity is critical, and not only do we know that already that the gut has a lot to do with your immunity, but also muscle tissue. It is these amino acids that have a real important effect on your immunity. And blood glucose use, well, the more muscle you have, the more blood glucose can be stored in muscles and in your liver cells, rather than being transported through the free flowing blood that we have in our body, that can lead to eye deficiencies, nerve deficiencies, weight gain, etc. So again, more muscle tissue means, once more, less body fat and less nasty blood glucose that is free. Fitter, you become more efficient. So things that you do on an everyday basis, carrying groceries, becomes a lot more efficient for yourself. So that, by definition, means you're a fitter individual. Everyday tasks just become easier, and that's one of the most important outcomes of any exercise regime, is that it must lead to real life change, not just lead to you become efficient at lifting on weight in a bench press. It's not something you do technically every day in your daily life, but lifting things, grabbing things out of pantries, being stronger in your legs, getting out of bed easier, so on and so forth, they're things that we do every day. And the less energy spent doing that means the more energy we have available to spend when we do our weight training. So stronger sort of leads on to the one above in regards to fitter and efficiency. Well, stronger means that you're just able to lift more. So again, if you're stronger, that means that you can lift a heavier weight. And if you can lift a heavier weight, it recruits more muscle cells or muscle fibers. If you recruit more muscle cells and muscle fibers, you damage more muscle cells and muscle fibers. If there's more damage, that means they need to be repaired. And if they're repaired with your proteins and your dietary interventions, they become larger. If they become larger, you burn more body fat. If you burn more body fat, you look the way that you want. So it's a given that weight training is imperative, and what we call progressive overload strength training, meaning you're getting stronger, is crucial. And with a completely new body shape, ultimately that's what most of you are chasing, guys. You want to look better, feel better, and perform better. And as we highlight here, tight-toned and yummy mummies, big, bold and buff men. And there's no doubt in the world, the science keeps telling us over and over and over again that muscle tissue truly is the fountain of youth. You don't need to chase pills or potions or powders. It's increased lean muscle tissue and you stay younger forever. It's just the truth. It's amazing, see? So why wouldn't you be focusing heavily on strength training, or a really structured strength training program becoming the cornerstone of all of your exercise regimes? It's a given that you must. Fat loss and weight training, really important. So can weight training lead to fat loss? Well, let's have a look. Weight loss is a matter of energy balance. So if you just want total weight loss, it means, as the textbooks have told us for eons, energy in versus energy out. If you take in more energy, you'll gain weight. If you have more energy out, meaning you expend more energy, you move more and eat less, you'll be in an energy deficit, which would mean a weight loss. Body composition though, so less muscle more muscle tissue, less body fat is a lot more complicated than that. And body composition, more muscle, less fat, is about an energy partitioning. It's not just a mathematical equation, meaning eat less, move more, and you'll look the way you want to. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately, with body composition changes. Again, looking great naked. What it does mean is that there's a lot more things that have to be taken into account. Not just a mathematical equation, but a chemical equation, because things like hormones, genetics, food choices, lifestyle, and training parameters will all be decisive ingredients in your outcome. But as you can see, your food choices, your genetics, your lifestyle choices, your hormone intervention, and your training programs are the instruction information that is required by your body to undertake this change. What it does is instruct your body to send food to your muscles for recovery and repair rather than being stored in fat cells. So if you undertake the right training methods and the right food at the right time and activate the right hormones, rather than energy calories being sent to fat cells and stored, they're being sent to your muscle cells and liver cells to aid in recovery and repair from the damaged tissue from that strength training or advanced cardiovascular training session. So it makes sense, again, to be really wary of the foods you consume. So as we've talked about many times before, don't allow your fork to dig your grave. You have to be aware that it's not just about training. You can't out-train your fork, no matter how good your training is. So understanding that they are both as important as each other is critical. And with your weight training, it becomes even more important. If you want to optimize your return on your investment in time in the weight training environment, then your food has to be even better. It doesn't give you more scope for being less effective with your nutrition. Your nutrition has to be even better so that your return on investment is what you want it to be. So combine great nutrition with an exceptionally tailor-made weight training program regularly, and this is what will happen. It's a bit of an icebreaker, but I hope you get the moral of what we're talking about. Shrek the Hulk. Literally, this is what weight training is all about. It is the panel beater. We talk about it regularly. I've been talking about it for decades, guys. If you want to look different, weight training and the fork are aligned together. You can't expect that you can just out-train that fork. Go for a workout and recover with a McDonald's Happy Meal. Go for a workout or a cardiovascular class and then have a big iced coffee latte and chocolate muffin. It's not how it works, guys. If you want optimum return on your investment, then your food has to be aligned to your training methods. Did you know this? Weight training burns off lots of calories if undertaken properly. It's absolutely possible for your weight training to burn more calories than your cardio workouts if the right formula exists. The metabolic lift or advancement that can be obtained from weight training is becoming folklore. Recall, the increase in your lean muscle mass equals a metabolic rate increase. And that's what we're after, guys, with Transform You. It's all about those last couple of words. Metabolic rate. We're trying to rewire your metabolism. So rather than your wheels spinning in the mud, ascertaining no traction forward, we need those wheels to gain traction. We need them to grip and get forward. And we need them to start to build from the outside in, eliciting more energy expenditure for everything to take place in your body. You're not becoming efficient. You're spending more energy to take every breath, to take every contraction of your bicep, to undertake every lunge. It's costing your body more energy to do so. In doing that, it happens by increasing your lean muscle mass. As we'll see soon, how much for every pound of muscle tissue that you gain, how many more calories is required just for you to breathe the following day that you've ascertained that more muscle tissue. So it's critical to understand that, you can get on a treadmill and you can watch the LED readout saying that you spent 250 calories doing a really steady walk. It's not the same as the energy that you'll expend from weight training. In a real intense weight training workout, guys, the calories that you expend does not terminate once the workout is over. It continues for hours on, anywhere from sort of 8 to 24 hours post-event. You can be burning more calories. That's right. for even a day after the workout is undertaken, your energy expenditure or your metabolism is still ramped up. And that's because of the nature of the damage that's undertaken through weight training. And it's this damage, cellular trauma, cellular stimulus that relates to your body changing. It is critical to understand weight training is everything in regards to changing the way you look. Another bit of an icebreaker. Maybe this is the answer. Hey, what do you do for exercise, miss? I lift weights. Yeah, but what do you do about cardio? I lift weights faster. You may be giggling. Well, I am. I think it's quite funny. If we look at how the advancements and the morphing of exercise over the last 20 years, what seems to be a perfect example of what this lass is talking about is the CrossFit training methods. So they undertake heavyweight training and they undertake explosive cardiovascular workouts, and all of the ladies and gentlemen who undertake that sport have amazing physiques. They're strong, they're robust, they're functional, they're fit. They undertake all of those things. So it's really what is weight training and aerobic conditioning is all about: becoming strong, becoming powerful, and inviting your body to undertake a real morphing, a metamorphosis, silkworm to butterfly, Volkswagen to Porsche. It is again all undertaken by doing the right type of weight training. And believe me, not all weight training is the same. It is imperative that a training program is designed for your specific goal. And it's imperative that you understand what your specific goal is. Just saying, we only do cardio, lifting weights will make us bulky. That's cute, honey, as those girls below state. Again, they are very fit, they are very healthy. And I'm not saying for one reason, guys, don't think for one moment that I'm saying that the picture above is wrong. You know, the girls on the treadmill, they're happy, they're fit, they're healthy as well. That's not wrong. All I'm saying is that don't judge anyone based on what they do. Their goals are specific to themselves. If they want to have a very low body fat percentage, which we know higher body fat percentages only lead to disease. There's no value add at all from a physiological standpoint to having body fat. The girls on the treadmill have a lot higher percentage of body fat than the girls in the lower picture down below, the strength training advocates. However, I am not stating for one moment that doing treadmill work is a waste of time. Not at all. It's just literally painting a picture, this has no pun intended, that there are different methods of training, and the different training method will allow for a completely different metamorphosis or body shape. It's depending on what you're after, and everyone's goals will be different. We move into some of the physiology now, which is the really important part. This is the cool stuff, guys. This is how muscle fibers work. So ultimately looking at a small muscle fiber, a medium muscle fiber, and a large muscle fiber. These big red ones here are the ones that increase in their cross-sectional mass, or they get bigger by the most. They're the ones that really help change your body shape. They're the ones that are big and strong. They lift the heavy weights. These ones here, the chameleons, these are your type 2 muscle fibers, which can become, if trained, depending on your training method, if you're doing, 15 plus reps all the time, 15, 25, 35, 45, 55, 100 repetitions, well, these cells can take on characteristics more like these cells here. They become slower and smaller muscle fibers. However, if we expose these cells to heavy weights, so somewhere from 12 downwards, they can take on the characteristics of these ones here. These big ones, as I said, they increase in cross-sectional mass, so they helping change your body shape dramatically, but they are powerful and robust, but they have very low energy thresholds. It means they fatigue very, very quickly. So normally they're only going to work for somewhere between 1 and maybe 5 or 6 repetitions. These ones here can work from anywhere from a 50 repetition through to a 5 or 6 repetition, but they have a favored number. They sort of like to operate somewhere between the the 6 to 15 repetition range, and they are medium threshold. So that means they can work for probably about a minute before they start to feel a little bit of out of puff. And the small type 1 muscle cells, they will go forever and ever and ever if the environment doesn't get too acidic. If we get too much lactic acid and we start to work more anaerobically without oxygen, well, then these puppies will start to run out of speed. If we slow down a little bit and the lactic acid starts to dissipate, well, then these guys will go on forever and ever and a day. They're like the Forrest Gump. They'll just keep going if the environment allows them to. So they're type 1, they're slow oxidative, so it means they're not strong, they're not powerful, they're more endurance muscle fibers. These ones here, as we said, type 2, fast oxidative glycotic. So they need glucose, they're anaerobic, they work under more a power environment. And these are the big daddies, the type 2X, fast glycotic and muscle fibers, huge potential to lift heavy weights, but to work for only a very short period of time. Ultimately, we're trying to increase the size as best as possible of all of those muscle fibers. And when we start to lift weights, guys, this is really important to understand that when we lift a heavy weight, all of these muscle cells, whether you know it or not, are used. So if we lift a heavy weight somewhere between, let's say we're lifting 3 sets of 6 repetitions. So we're lifting 6 reps, then we'll have a 2-minute rest, then we'll do 6 reps and we'll have a 2-minute rest. These cells are used first. They're like the secretary in a business. They're the person you see first. So they are recruited first. They run out of steam quickly, guys, because they're not qualified to lift a heavy weight. So then they pat the CEO on the back. They go and say, "Oh, boss, I need your help." So they're recruited as well, these fibers here. And once again, these fibers run out of steam quick smart. They're not potentially apt or able to lift the heavy weight. So you've got the secretary and the manager, and then, they'll tap the CEO on the back and say, "CEO, boss man, please come and help." The secretary and the manager or supervisor are doing their very best, but they can't quite lift it. We need you to come and help. So as an entity, all of these muscle cells, type 1, type 2A, and type 2BX, are all used to lift that heavy weight. So it's the story of all or none theory. So they all work together or none of them work at all, meaning if they're not all working together, you fatigue and you can't lift the weight. It's quite exciting to understand this. We'll have a look at a slide next, which is a cross-section of a muscle cell under a microscope. And here it is. You can actually see this is like a cheese cutter. Someone's had a muscle biopsy where some muscle's been drawn. It's been added to an AIS or a staining agent under a microscope, and we look in and we see the different fiber types. And it stands out like blind Freddy. There's a small muscle fiber, there's difference in the middle muscle fibers, and then there's these huge muscle fibers. So again, if we start to lift weights, guys, this cell will increase in size, these cells will increase in size, and these cells will increase in size. And as you can see, if all of those are increasing in size, that muscle becomes larger because this is inside a muscle. These are all muscle cells. Every single one of those, or muscle fibers, cell, fiber, they interrelate, they mean the same. So every one of those cells would get larger. If they get larger, that means your lean muscle mass increases. If you've got more lean muscle mass, you have less body fat. So see how important it is to expose your body to different repetition ranges, not just lift lighter weights, sort of 15 reps plus, but then to lift those important sort of 15 through to 6 repetitions, which will activate these ones here. And then we want to lift those ones from 1 to 6 to get these big bangers in here. So we need to be really aware that we need to be lifting different repetition ranges regularly to ascertain the reward for everything. Because these ones here are the ones that increase the most. These ones will start to increase dramatically if the training stimulus is right. Remember I said these ones will take on the characteristics of these ones. These ones don't increase dramatically at all, the type 1 muscle fibers, but they can increase in size. It's amazing. It's just rocket science, literally. It's what I'm most passionate about, all of this great stuff. That's what makes us good at what we do, is understanding the intricacies of all of this information. And then we relate this information to working with the individual. So this is sort of a general breakdown of what we've just seen. The type 1, the small fibers, slow, small, resistance to fatigue is high. They're predominantly used in aerobic exercise, meaning with oxygen. Maximum duration, as we said, if the right environment's there, they'll go forever and ever and ever. Power produced, very low. They're not powerful. Mitochondria density, this is where we spend the energy, is high. Capillary density, that's the arteries and veins that supply the oxygen and nutrient-rich blood, is also very high. Oxidative capacity, as we said, it uses oxygen, it's high. Glycolytic, meaning glucose, very low. Major fats, major energy or macronutrients used is triglycerides or fats. Then the 2A fibers. So they're those middle of the roads. Remember, so this is the secretary, this is the manager. Moderate to fast. They're medium size. They're fairly high resistance to fatigue, but not extremely high like the type 1. Low term anaerobic, so maybe for a minute or so they can work really hard. Maximum duration less than 30 minutes. That's again working at really low end of these potential capacity of this cell. They like to work hard. They like to lift heavy, so this is a textbook answer. Power produced, medium. Mitochondria density, and again where energy is spent, is high. Capillary density is lower. This is why they run out of steam quicker. Oxidative capacity high. Glycolytic capacity high means they like to use glucose. Again, they're power hungry people. And they use something called creatine, phosphate, and glycogen, stored carbohydrate. And creatine makes energy. It's cellular currency. The big bangers, the CEO, very fast, but they fatigue very, very quickly. They are huge in size. Short-term anaerobic, they're explosive. They can run out of steam very, very quickly. Power produced is massive. These, if you had to lift a car off a person, these are the ones that you're using, and you fatigue quickly, but the power recruited is amazing. Very low mitochondria means that we haven't got a lot of place to spend energy, hence we run out of energy fast. Capillary density, again, low, hence we run out of energy fast. Oxidative capacity, low, hence we run out of energy fast. Glycolytic capacity, the highest of high, meaning that it spends carbohydrate quickly. And creatine, again, a power, cellular currency, and glycogen, carbohydrate, is used as fuel. Wow, amazing stuff, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. So you can understand from just these slides here, this, and this, that your training program is critical to optimize more of that lean muscle mass. You get some of these things wrong and then you're just wasting your time. Yes, you're going to the gym, but for what reason, God only knows. It's not to change your body shape. And this is what, guys, I've seen over 25 years, people going to the gym week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out, and they don't change a thing. They don't look any differently because they continue to do the same thing and their programs are not tailored to themselves. So fact from fiction, if you want fat loss and weight loss, just do cardio. So this is obviously fiction. No, no, no. Resistance training, weight training, the panel beater is the cornerstone of all things fat loss. And you can see why from that picture. I told you that if you want fat loss, you need to optimize and increase this size. More of this, more lean muscle means more fat loss. It's that simple. It doesn't come from cardio. Cardio works on these fibers here, the ones that increase in size the least. This just means that there's more oxygen used, less fat used, less muscle mass, less metabolic advancements. Be very aware of that, guys. Increase in your basal metabolic rate. We've talked about before. More muscle you build, the more energy it's required to maintain it, and everything you do will cost your body more, meaning you've increased your metabolism. Change your body shape and learn to keep it forever. If you start to build more of this by activating all of these and using the right training methods to activate these cells here, well, then you're going to be able to learn to change your body shape and learn to keep it forever. We talked also about the afterburn, the calories burned post-exercise. It's exponentially increased with weight training, not so after traditional cardiovascular exercise. There is cardiovascular exercise that can really advance your afterburn, but that's for another day, our next lesson. But traditional cardiovascular exercise, once the workout is over, the calories or the afterburn, it's called EPOC, excess exercise post-oxygen consumption, returns to normal and you're not burning any more calories than you would normally. Hence, after weight training, you burn calories at a huge level above and beyond. And while you're sitting in your lounge chair, while you're sleeping, you're burning calories. Yes, fat calories. Increase in strength and functional strength. They are wonderful things, guys. For everybody, once again, should be focusing on the ability to activate all things muscle cells. And here is something that's really going to blow your mind. I mentioned it earlier and I said we'd see a slide of it, and here it is. Muscle burns more calories. Water cools the calories. No energy cost. For every pound of body fat, look at that ugly stuff. 1 pound of body fat, 2 calories to maintain it. But it's dangerous. The amount of energy that's spent in that, the toxins that are stored, the disease it extrapolates and leads to, horrendous. Muscle, 1 pound. For every pound of muscle tissue you build, an extra 50 calories is burnt every single day just to maintain that tissue. Hence, again, more muscle tissue, less of this, more locomotion, more of this, less disease, more of this, more disease, more lethargy, more fatigue, more self-damn talk. It's just horrendous. So why are we not focusing on doing this? And I'm not talking about turning all the ladies into she-hulks, not at all. And if this is what you're taking from this lecture, you must change your thought process. This is about, again, the fountain of youth. This is about health and well-being. This is about performance, not just having bigger biceps and abdominals, guys. Not at all. If that's where you want to take it, fantastic, go for it. If not, great. That's even better, because what we're focusing on is improving your body, making your version of you the best it can ever be. So once again, every pound of muscle tissue built, an extra 50 calories is required every single day just for that 1 pound of muscle tissue. Phenomenal. We continue with facts from fiction. Lose the fat first and then start weight training to tone. Myth. No matter what your health and fitness goal may be, weight training or panel beating is the cornerstone. In the very first slide, I mentioned that today. Why? Stronger, harder, faster, healthier, more athletic looking, a greater self-esteem. Need I go on? Yes, I should. Fountain of youth, less disease. Wow, need I shall go on. Everything and anything that can ever come from exercise is ascertained through having the right training program for you, the right strength training program. And none of us want to become skinny fat. Remember, we want to be able to increase our lean muscle tissue so we're leaner, but we want to be able to ascertain more muscle tissue so that we're healthier. Let's continue on. Fit and healthy versus skinny. This, not this. Fit is the new skinny. I read on the weekend, guys, I don't read the newspaper, but my wife does on the weekend, and she pulled out the body and soul bit in the middle of the paper. And it was talking about a lot of the gym fraternity now and how women are focusing on strength rather than skinny. I personally, from a personal perspective, I think that's fantastic. And I'm not talking about, again, turning people into bodybuilders. This was talking about women getting stronger, getting fitter, feeling greater about themselves, being able to be more functional on an everyday basis. And a bipartisan effect of their training methods has led to them changing their body shape, which is fantastic. Once again, for one moment, I am not saying this is wrong at all, nor am I saying this is right. All I'm saying is understand the physiology about what we've talked about. Recruiting muscle fibers will allow a greater transformation in body shape, and that transformation in body shape means that you have less body fat and more muscle tissue. Less body fat means less disease. More muscle tissue means less disease. More muscle tissue means greater locomotion and being able to do the things that you want for as long as you want, when you want. So understand what your training is initiating. If you want muscle tissue and all you're doing is training for cardio, you're going to get this. You're going to get very low muscle tone at all and a higher body fat percentage. If you train correctly with the right amount of weight training and the right style of weight training that's changed regularly, you'll ascertain a greater return on body in regards to lean muscle mass increase and body fat percentages declining. And as we said before, one of the most important parts about that is that you learn to keep that body forever. You've reprogrammed your genetics. Remember I stated it's about rewiring your chemistry, re-engineering your metabolism. That's what the whole Transform You program's about, building a greater version of you. Fact from fiction: don't lift weights, you will get big and bulky. Yuck. I've heard it, guys. Again, 25 years plus. We mentioned to a lady for the first time you meet her in a gym that we need to do some weight training. Oh no, Craig, I can't train with weights because I bulk up too quickly. It's folklore, guys. You may feel that's the case, and you do get physical changes, there's no doubt. But if you knew how hard it is to even, we talked about in this slide here, to increase 1 pound of lean muscle tissue, the amount of work, the hours and hours of work, and the recruitment and ingestion of the right type of energy or food to enable that physical adaptation is hard work. No matter how genetically gifted or not you are, and most of us don't have the genes to be able to just, lift a weight and build muscle tissue. It's a very small percentile that enables that. Most of us fit it within, we have to work our butt off to be able to try and change. So the amount of work required to build this muscle tissue, never misconstrued how difficult it is. It'll take weeks and months to change your body shape. So lifting weights, girls, is not going to turn you into the She-Hulk. That is my guarantee. And I guarantee if you get the right training program and the right eating regime to undertake your return on investment, you'll be more than pleased with the body shape changes you can obtain. Muscle gain is freaking hard work. Your genetics play a big part, about 50% of it. Ladies, it's even harder again in most cases. And the reason being, ladies, as you've just stated, I heard you all sing out, yes, Craig, we know, testosterone. We aren't as high in percentage of testosterone as men are. You couldn't be any closer to the truth, girls. That's exactly right. So men have a greater chance of building muscle tissue than females. That doesn't mean that females can't undertake unbelievable morphing and changing in body shape. That is so true. As you can see from a position like this is not all just genetics that have enabled these two girls to look the way they are. The right training methods and the right eating regime and lots of hard work, persistency and patience will enable responses like this. Whereas again, this person could also have very much the similar genetics to this person, but the environment is different. The eating regime would be different. The training methods would be very different. It's a very slow grind, groundhog-like, but it's with weight training that the true artistry of body shape change is built. Remember we stated earlier that it's a real art and science. You are becoming a sculptor. You are an artist. Recall, you can't sculpt with diet and cardio alone. You must lift weights to change your body shape. You can drop weight through cardio and diet alone. You can lose weight, but in most cases, unfortunately, a lot of that weight loss leads to more skinny fat. Yes, a lighter person on a scale, but a much higher body fat percentage. And in all the years I've been doing this line of work, guys, I've never once been asked to make someone fatter. And yet that's what people are doing day in, day out, week in, week out when they attend gyms and focus on very low calorie diets, very low carbohydrate diets. They are not understanding the physiology. They have completely void to all of what the physiology is about. Everything we're doing in regards to here, and here is leading to this, a body shape change that you can undertake and learn to maintain. So be very aware, guys, very, very aware. And this is why Transform You, I say this again, undoubtedly with so much vigor, that it's not just about training. It's not just about diet. It's not just about mind massage. It's about all of those ingredients working together every single day of your life. The truth, lifting weights, what women thinks happen. Girls, don't be petrified by these positions here. In most cases, these ladies are synthetically enhanced. They're using male hormones to look this way. Doesn't matter how hard a normal individual will train. If they're not synthetically enhanced, they're not going to turn into this. And I don't blame you girls for being scared by those things. But in most cases, these women here would be busting their butts, these ladies, and eating unbelievably well just to look the way they do there. And they look really, really good. They look healthy. They look strong. But again, this may be too much for you girls, and that is fine. That's your decisions to make. But you still have to understand the cornerstone of all your training should be driven by weight training. It has to be a huge part of all of your training for all those other reasons. Less body fat, better blood glucose control, greater locomotion, less osteoporosis, greater fountain of youth. Why would you not be doing it? So it's just understanding. Don't get scared by the She-Hulk. As I said, girls, I just had to do it. Sorry, didn't mean to scare you. Again, it's totally outside of normal to look this way. We continue with facts and fictions. Oh yes, muscle turns into fat, so don't lift weights or you will have to do it forever. Guys, this is the truth. Muscle cells are muscle cells. Fat cells are fat cells. Never or ever do one become the other. You can't turn France into America. You can't turn Australia into Japan. You can't turn a muscle cell into a fat cell. So it couldn't be any further from the truth. You know, men train with weights when they're younger, they get older, they stop weight training and all of a sudden they turn fat. It's not because of the reasons that muscles turn to fat, ladies and gentlemen. It's because their whole metabolism has changed once again. You've heard the saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. Couldn't be any further from the truth. Over time, we saw in this picture, we'll go back to it, if you train yourself effectively, this is what happens. You increase these in size. In doing so, more calories are required to maintain it. Remember, guys, we saw that picture. You increase muscle cells, more energy is used to maintain it. So we eat more to maintain this. When we stop training, what happens to these? If the training stimulus isn't there, these cells all start to shrink, meaning your metabolism slows. So because these have all shrunk, that means this shrinks, but this doesn't. This actually gets bigger because you're eating more calories that get stored in here. There's less calories going to there. So all of a sudden you look down one day and whoops, what's hanging around the veranda? More body fat percentages. So yes, all of a sudden, muscles turned into fat. That's the perception. It's not at all. It just means that if you're not using muscle cells, the muscle cells atrophy, decrease in size, and that decrease in size of your muscle cells leads to a slower metabolism, and yes, you become skinny fat. You lose weight, and in losing that weight, you increase your body fat stores. End of story. One is not the same as the other. The truth is this, as we'll see what I've just described. If you stop weight training, your muscle atrophies or breaks down or shrinks. It's no longer required because the training stimuli is not there. You still eat the same amount of food. You have a lower basal metabolic rate. You restore the excess calories as fat. Yes, you just get fat because you eat more and you move less. End of story. Muscle never converts to fat because, as we said, it's a physiological, it's impossible to undertake. Ladies, you must train different to men. You must, because you're a lady, you don't need to train like a man, right? Our physiology is the same, guys. No. You train the same. We all need to train the same. Of course, dependent on what your goal is. If your goal is to change your body shape, you train the best way possible for you. You don't copy what someone else is doing. So whether it's training like a man or not, or training like a female or not, you don't do the same as everybody else does. You make sure that the training that you're being prescribed is tailored to your investment in time, your availability, the things you like, your orthopedic concerns. Have you got bad knees, bad back, bad neck? You can't be doing deadlifts and all of those things if you've got injuries. So everything must be tailored to you. And if you're not sure that you're getting tailored, make contact with us and we'll design your program for you. We're more than happy to. Ladies, put simply, if you want tight, toned and yummy, you must train with your optimum intensity. Now, this is where people go wrong with weight training. Intensity with weight training is not driven by huffing and puffing. Intensity with weight training is driven by weight, how heavy something is. So we talk about intensity of training or a weight training session being intense when we're looking at repetitions somewhere from 0 to 12. Once we start to get above that 12 repetition range, the intensity lessens off. So we do more volume, our repetition range is higher, but the intensity decreases. You could do 1,000 repetitions in a workout. That's not an intense workout. If you're working with sets of 15, 20, 50, 100, that's an endurance-based training session. It's not an intense session. The difference with intensity also is prescribed in aerobic work. Intensity means sprinting. You're huffing and puffing, not aerobic work where you've done a 42K run or a marathon. That's not intensity, that's endurance. Recall, it's a very tough process building muscle tissue, this body shape changing, and you must stimulate it to have to change for you. Toning is a myth. Muscles get stronger and more developed, or they don't. It's simple as that. You don't just do more reps to tone something. Toning simply means this in most people's minds. You burn body fat, you see what you've built underneath the doona. Yes, you burn the doona, get rid of the doona, the body fat, and you see what masterpiece you've built underneath. You become leaner, you get to see all the hard work that you've done. Lift like a man, look like a goddess. Again, that's just a picture. It's stating what we're talking about. Girls, you train as hard as you need to look the way that you want to. And you can't wish to look a certain way. You have to earn it, and that is prescribed through the right training methods and the right dietary interventions. Again, you will need to train for hours each day to build the best body. One of the first things when you talk to most people is, okay, Craig, I don't have the time to train for hours every day, so I can't really change my body shape. It couldn't be anything further from the truth. You don't need a lot of time to do what you want to. Remember, we just talked about, it's about intensity, not endurance. So you need to train with oomph. You need to have some vigor. You need to train in a robust format to build what you want to. You will need to train for hours each day? No. 35 to 60 minutes in most cases are all you'll need. And I'm talking about 60 minutes in the long term, not where if you're just starting out now, 35 to 40 minute workouts are all you'll ever need for a long time to come before you need to even start to focus on more volume and more intensity coming together where you do more volume and intense workouts. That comes with experience and time when you start to hit things like plateaus. But for most cases, most of us can get away with a 35 to 40 minute weight training workout, for maybe 2 to 3 times a week. In most cases, though, that's again an advanced formula. For most of us, 1 to 2 strength training sessions a week is going to allow an unbelievable return on your investment. The key is that consistency, persistency, and efficiency, making sure that you're doing the things regularly, not for a week, not for a month, not for 2 months, not for 6 months, but for a long term to come, for the rest of your life is the best. Weight training will make you slow, muscles bound, and you will lose flexibility. Again, it couldn't be any further from the truth, but it's a perception. Resistance training, if done correctly, makes you faster, stronger, more explosive and functional, also while being leaner and healthier. So we saw before in those cell formulas when we went right back to here, look how they're very fast, these big cells. So they're very fast, they're explosive. It's not going to slow you down. You get slower and less flexible because you don't train for flexibility. You need to stretch, guys. Resistance training will make you faster, stronger, and more explosive and functional, all whilst being leaner and healthier. Isn't that what we're all after? Healthier, stronger, looking the way that you want to for longer. You lose flexibility because you sit all day and you do nothing. Resistance training can increase your range of motion if you do the exercise properly through a full range of motion. If you don't move it, you lose it. Funny how that keeps coming up and showing its face. Slow and flexible? I kid you not. This is a powerful athlete. This is a sprinter. Extremely powerful, very explosive, and extremely flexible. How about we look at this one? I think this will paint a picture too. One of the strongest, leanest, most flexible people in the world. There's a female gymnast. If she's not flexible, I don't know what is. So don't kid yourself with telling you weight training is going to make you slow like a sloth and as flexible as an iron bar. Not at all. If done correctly, Everything you want, you can ascertain through strength training. And again, it's the foundation of everything in fusion fat loss and nutrition. So the take home is this. This is the stuff you must understand. Lifting weights is the cornerstone to fat loss and weight loss. End of story for everyone, no matter how old, no matter how young, no matter what gender. Weight training burns many calories. It increases your metabolic rate. It improves your strength. It improves your health and fitness. It improves your physiology. It improves your thought processes and cognition. It improves your immunity. It is the fountain of youth. And it completely changes your body shape. And in doing so, it changes your own perception of yourself. So you become more, what's the word I'm looking for? Your self-respect is increased exponentially. You're not skinny fat. No, you're increasing your lean muscle mass and you're burning more body fat. So skinny fat, remember, is you decrease your lean muscle tissue. You give muscle tissue away and you gain more fat tissue. Weight training allows you to burn more body fat and hold on to more muscle tissue. Again, it should be the cornerstone of everything anyone ever does. So why strength train? Research shows that regular strength training can increase your basal metabolic rate by 15%. That means if you usually burn 2,000 calories per day, you will burn an extra 300 calories every day. Just by sitting on the couch, by sleeping, by reading a book, you're spending all of those extra calories. Get on a treadmill, guys, and walk for 6 kilometers an hour and see how long it takes you to burn 300 extra calories. Every day you'd have to do that. With building, a little bit more muscle tissue, you're doing that for free. You've earned it because you've changed your metabolism. And remember what we said, it's all about rewiring that metabolism. So questions and answers, this is again where you're documenting all the questions that you need me to answer for you when we get to our next phone call or FaceTime or Skype. Put down everything, every question that you want to know, you need to be asking me, because if you're not asking, I can't help you. This is what we're looking at next week. Fat burning cardio. Is it a must? Is cardio required for fat loss or is it not? After seeing what weight training does, you may be starting to think, do I need to do cardio for fat loss? Next week, you'll be exposed. And again, make sure you're sending through your food photos, your diary. I can't help you if I'm not seeing it. If you're not showing me what you're eating, I'm assuming that you're doing it right. And if you're not getting the goals you want, it's because I'm not being exposed. You could be eating completely wrong, even though you've been through all the nutrition lectures, your portion controls, your regularity of eating, your meal construction could still be all wrong, and this is where you're not getting where you want to. Yeah, no, don't put me down for any cardio. This is again what we'll discuss next week, and I swear to you guys, you will understand so much more about training methods next week when we talk about the right weight training, the right cardio, and how much cardio of the right format, which can assist in you changing the body shape you want forever. Until next week, guys, stay safe. And this is Fusion Fat Loss and Nutrition Transform You.